All right, so this evening we are studying lesson 5. So lesson 5 is kind of where some of the concepts start getting a little bit trickier, but we've only basically got one consonant and one vowel that we're pulling in here tonight for this one. So tonight we are learning Chaf, Kaf, and Haf Sofit. So as you can see, the two rightmost ones are very similar, except for that dagesh that distinguishes them apart. And then we'll dive into the Chaf Sofit here in a minute. It's the same sound, it's the same letter, but it's a final form, which we'll discuss. Do I have... Well, I guess I don't have my drawing slides on those. So these ones are really simple with calligraphy. It's just kind of one stroke of the pen. So you're coming across very thick across the top and coming thinner down the side, just in kind of a backwards C. If you're doing like a ballpoint pen, it just is a boxy version of a backwards C. So it can be similar to bet and vet, except that the baseline doesn't come out and extend there on the bottom. You're just having one solid line instead of having that kind of that bottom toe that comes out the right. So just like all of our beged kefits from previously that we've discussed, these are plosive and fricative. So it's the same letter, but two different sounds if we're looking at it in the ancient context. And so chaf is the guttural back of the throat loogie sound, right? As in Bach, like Johann Sebastian Bach. That's the sound we're trying to go for. Now it's pretty tricky, but once you get it down, I think you basically have it. It's just getting to that point where you can make that sound. It is one of the easier of the beged kefits to pronounce. Like that rimel is really hard, isn't it? But the chaf, you're just kind of opening up the whole mouth cavity, rather than trying to squelch so much in the back where with like the rimel and the valet. So on the opposite side, if it does have the plosive dagesh, it's going to be kaf, as in candy, or kaf, as in to cough. And then chaf sofit is going to be the same as the first one. It's going to be the fricative, the back of the throat sound. So again, with all of our plosives, beged kefits, if you put your hand in front of your mouth to feel the plosive air on kaf versus kaf doesn't expel that plosion of air versus kaf that does. All right, and then here's our vowel sounds for the week. Now, I probably should have actually done our simplified vowel chart for this one, just to kind of see where this comes into play. So let's just take cholam just by itself. So that upper one there, this is our first vowel that actually resides above the consonant letters. There's only this one that does. I mean, there's some grammar exceptions kind of thing, but all of our vowels up until this point have resided below, or have had like that vowel companion that's upper. But this is a single dot to the upper left of the consonant. And just like all of our vowels, the name carries the sound. Ho-lam, ho, o. It's that O sound. So just like all of the other vowels that we've learned until this point, there is a companion, which lengthens the vowel sound. And so this one's a little bit trickier to kind of take a look at and recognize it. But instead of a yod vowel companion, we have a vav vowel companion with the holam. So holam malay is written with a vav, but the dot migrates so that it's directly over the vav instead of the consonant that that vowel sound resides on. So that's where it kind of gets a little tricky to really memorize this one and understand it. So holam regular, just by itself, is upper left of the consonant. But when it does have its companion consonant, or that vowel companion there, then the dot is going to migrate so that it is directly over the companion vowel or consonant, whatever you want to call it. But in this case, that vav doesn't have the v sound. It has the W sound, the w. So here we have O and O. It has that w at the end. And I think, yeah, I do have that. So take a look or listen, I guess, at how you would pronounce the word open. O-pen. Oh, you don't really have much of a w, the wispy kind of w sound with it. It's just open. It flows just a little bit better. But if we have just the exclamation of oh, it has that w, kind of that companion vowel with it. It's lengthened a little bit. It has the w, you kind of draw it out. And so that's the distinct difference between the two. O, 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 O. And so, yeah, we'll get some practice here in just a second with that. So let's take a look at final forms. We're learning our first one tonight. There are 5 total final forms in the Hebrew alphabet. So what does it mean, final form? Final form means that whenever any of these 5 consonants come at the end of a word, they drop their tail. Or, well, in the case of mem, it closes its tail. So we can take a look at haf and see that what changes is that base of it just drops straight down. And except for the case of mem, they all come down below the baseline. Now, all consonants are always above the baseline. Nothing ever extends below, except for kuf and these ones, these final forms. So if these 5 consonants come at the end of a word, they immediately drop their tail and they produce the exact same sound. It's just to mark the end of a word. This comes in very handy as space is limited and you're writing really scrunched up writings or reading ancient scrolls. They have a main purpose so that you can denote the end of a word because these are common word endings. And so it's an easy way to distinguish where your words are separated. So this is the only one that we're really learning for this week, but take a look at these. Haf drops its tail to at the end of the word. Let's skip mem for just a second. Noon, you can see that it starts off the same, but then it comes down and it drops its tail straight down. Fei, again, that base just drops straight down. And tzadi, it does kind of morph a little bit, but basically it's just dropping its tail, right? That base comes straight down, and because it comes straight down, the trunk of it, that diagonal trunk, straightens up just a little bit. I would say this one was probably the hardest for me to recognize and realize that this is actually a tzadi. But we'll get to that in a future lesson, just kind of taking a look at those, and as well as mem. We'll take a look at mem versus tet and how those can be easily confused. But instead of dropping its tail, it closes off its tail. So here, a regular mem has that gap in its base, and then it just squares itself up. So yeah, final forms, drop the tail at the end of the word. And these are the only 5 that do that. There's no other consonants that do. And there is one consonant that just always is below the baseline, but it doesn't change at the end of the word or anything. All right, does that make sense? Hopefully. We'll get a lot of practice with that. So let's take a little bit of a break. We'll come back to that, trying to recognize those final forms here in just a second. But let's practice the alphabet song. So if you want to sing along, or if you just want to keep muted, but I would still recommend singing along. I'm going to go through the alphabet up until this point, and then we'll come back and try to sing it together with the echo version, right? Where the echo is kind of in triads. So, yeah, I'll just stop at cough. So, Aleph, Bet, Vet, Gimel, Dalet, He, Vav, Zayin, Het, Tet, Yod, Haf, Kaf. So let's do it in an echo. So I'll sing it, and then we'll all sing it, and then we'll move to the next triad. So, Aleph, Bet, Vet, Aleph, Bet, Vet, Gimel, Dalet, He,
Gimel, Dalet, He,
Vav, Zayin, Het, Tet,
Zayin, Het, Tet,
Yod, Haf, Kaf,
Yod, Haf, Kaf.
All right, let's try it one more time. Aleph, Bet, Vet,
Aleph, Bet, Vet,
Gimel, Dalet, He,
Gimel, Dalet, He,
Vav, Zayin, Het, Tet,
Vav, Zayin, Het, Tet,
Yod, Haf, Kaf,
Yod, Haf, Kaf.
All right, so hopefully that's starting to kind of cement in there. Hopefully you're singing it 24/7 and it gets stuck in your brain so that you can get those letters flowing off the tongue there. Do we want to go here yet? Yeah, let's do. Okay, so here's Deuteronomy 8:2. Now, first off, let's just try to identify the consonants that are new this week. So we have Haf and Kaf and Chaf Sofit. Just start reading this from right to left, top to bottom, and just try to identify how many are in there. So I'll give you just, I don't know, let's go for like a minute and just start counting. Every time you see one, count it up, and then I will pull up a slide that has all of them highlighted. So I'll give you just 1 minute there. Just a couple more seconds. All right, so how many did you get? Here are all of the ones that are, well, I think, unless I missed some. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So there was 2 chafs, there was 1 kaf, and then there seemed like there was another one. No, that must be it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 chaf sofits. So hopefully we can start seeing where that tail comes into play at the end of a word, that it drops its tail. And it is very interesting because the vowel, when it drops its tail, the vowel doesn't know where to go. And so it just floats on up. It doesn't have anything protecting it from, or keeping it down, I guess you'd say. And so in those, the shava floats up, the kamatz floats up inside there. Oh, I guess there's 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of the chaf sofit. So now that we've got those, start again, right to left, top to bottom, and try to pull out. You don't have to count or anything like that, but just go through each consonant and say, do I know it? And say its name as you're going through. Now, let's just focus on like the top 2 lines so that it, I mean, we could spend like 10 minutes just trying to recognize all those. But as yeah, I'll give you like 2 seconds, not 2 seconds, a minute to do those top 2 lines. Sorry, my brain. A minute to do those top 2 lines, and then we'll do the bottom 3 together. Kind of tricky, isn't it? Your brain starts kind of swimming after a while, going, I don't know, do I know any of these? But I want to show you that we actually know a lot more than we give ourselves credit for at this point. So tonight is lesson 5. We're halfway through. And so let's take a look at, here's all of the consonants that we should know by now. It's about half, but if we take a look at all of the remaining ones, there's only like 5, I think, that we have left to learn. There's just a lot of them. But anyway, so let's take a look at line 3 and go right to left on all of the ones that we should know, all of the ones highlighted yellow. So hopefully you can see my cursor as I'm kind of going over these. But so we've got hey,
A,
and bet, dalet. Well, technically this one is dalet because it doesn't have the dagesh, right? Then we have bet, chaf sofit, samech.
we haven't learned Samic yet.
Haven't we?
No.
I'm pretty just a second. Now I gotta prove myself. Because if we haven't, then the next one's not gonna make sense. Just a second. Sorry, this is gonna be dizzy. Gotta go back. I thought for sure we had that. Okay, well, anyway, there'll be one exercise that that's going to throw off here in just a second. Okay, so not Samic. Then our final one on that line, we've got chaf sofit. Then the next line, got dalet, Aleph, Aleph, Bet, Vet, Vet, Chaf Sofit, Hey, Vav, 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 Yod, Vav, Aleph, Aleph. All right, so hopefully that wasn't too tricky. Knowing those letters, again, just repetition, trying to do that. If you open up any of our homework or anything like that, if you're struggling identifying those consonants, the brain just short-circuited. Open up a Hebrew Bible. I have quite a few links in the resources there where there's online Hebrew Bibles, and just kind of go through lots of different ones. Or if you have your flashcards and just pull out a random one and go through them that way. There's lots of different ways to practice the actual consonant names. And then for an added trickier version is trying to do the sounds instead of the names. So like we'll just practice, let's do that second line because it's got a lot of them. So just practicing the sounds that each of them makes instead of doing the name. So we've got yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, but it's not really ha, but it's v, silent, yeah, z, b, yeah. So sometimes the sounds are a little bit trickier if you're not flowing through with the vowel sounds. And so then comes the sight reading, which is a more advanced step, right? So let's, instead of taking lots of class time to go search for the vowels, let me just highlight those. So all of the ones in red are the ones that we know so far. You know, we still see quite a few of the cantillations and a couple of the other vowel pairs that we don't know yet, but I mean we're rocking and rolling. We know quite a few of the vowels already. So when you take a look at this screen and look at what you know versus what you don't know, yeah, it checks out. We're about halfway through the lessons on the alphabet, and we have a very good solid foundation as we move forward. So if you find yourself that this is tricky, or that you're just not quite getting the speed behind those names or those sounds, it comes down to drilling and practice. Flashcards, again, Hebrew Bible, etc., to get those all down. So let's take a look at a couple of these words. Do we have any that we can just sight read the entire word? These are all kind of broken up. We do know Yahweh though. So on line 2, the second word here, we have Yod He Vav He, which is the name of God, Yahweh, right? And so if we're sight reading this one, even though we don't know the Shava or this cantillation here, we can still sound it out with that patah there. So if we have yeah, Yah, Yahweh, it's kind of tricky, but Yahweh, Yahweh, it's one of the trickiest words in Hebrew because so many people have a different pronunciation. Some people don't even try to pronounce it; they just go Yod He Vav He, or many times you'll have that word pop up, and people will just say Adonai because it's too sacred of a name to even pronounce. Many times people will reference it as the breaths. It's the in breath, yeah, way, yeah, way. Like it's one of the trickiest words, but it's the only one on here where we know all of the consonants and the vowels to it. Trying to look there's not any other words that we can sight read on there. But anyway, this is like good practice on recognizing the consonant names and the sounds of those. All right, so here's where a pencil and paper would be handy if you've got one. So this is kind of like our previous exercises that we've done where we're taking a look at it and transliterating it into English. So which English word is this using Hebrew letters and vowels? So each one will give you just a second. And I didn't have time to do like the answer slides, so we'll just you'll just have to listen along and pay attention as we go.
Is it bake?
Huh? Bake. A bake. All right, try this one on. So this is our new consonant this week. It's that cough. In the little kind of kindergarten book, I forgot to put those slides on here, but they have it as if it's a piece of candy in the mouth. So cod, cod, as in like a codfish. All right, this one looks intimidating, but it's not too bad. So just that first part here, we've got, and then we've got our new vowel, holam, ho, gi,
Hoagie.
So hoagie yogi. Now see where this new vowel comes in here. Y, y, o, gi. Hoagie yogi. Now it's kind of tricky because that holam malay is an interesting one. It's really hard to get used to because you keep wanting to do the vav, the V sound, right? But more times than not, a vav will be a companion vowel. Anytime that we need to make the actual v sound, we're going to be using vet. You know, vet. We're going to be using that one to carry it in the middle of a word. Most of the times, you're going to see it with a dot above it, and it's just going to be that O. Ogie, yogi. All right, try this one on. So we've got gimel, and this is the plosive one, so it's the harder or harsher one. G, ge. This is a segol. E, ge, k, o. Gecko. All right, and this one. Yoke, yoke. So, I mean, our English could be like Y-O-K-E, or it could be the Y-O-L-K, because the L is kind of silent as we're saying that English word, right? So yoke. Try this one.
Vogue.
Vogue. Yeah, so V-O-G-U-E, Vogue. And this one. Gave. Gave. Right. Very similar. Cave. Cave.
Hawk.
Hawk, as in a bird, Hawk. Hawk. Or I guess you could like to hawk or pawn something, right? All right. Yet. Yet. Something has yet to take place. So again, we could like add a hirik on here, right? Yeti, and have a totally different word. This one is talk, talk. So as to speak, to talk, could also be like TikTok, that kind of a talk. All right, try this one.
E.
Keys. Keys. It's that Zayin has, it's kind of that zipped up zipper. All right, try this one. It's kind of like a proper name, right? Kate. Kate. Zeke. Zeke.
Yeah.
Yay.
Yes.
Yay.
Oh.
So the second yod is going to be that companion with the tsere. So yay. Yay. All right, now backwards. Try writing these down. If you don't have a pen and a paper, try saying which consonants and which vowels, like as you're kind of speaking it out. Again, these are taking English words, those sounds. It's not going to be letter for letter transliteration, but the sound transliteration. So beak, beak. So we would have a bet with a hirik underneath of it, and then a kaf, right? That new letter for this week, it's kind of a backward C with a dagesh, because we need that hard plosive k sound. Beak. Was that too fast? Do I need to give you a little bit more time? Let me know if I need to. All right, let's try the word cob, as in corn on the cob. All right, so we're gonna have the new letter this week, cough. So it's gonna have the dagesh in it. It's gonna be the plosive sound. Ah. We're going to either have a patach or a kamatz underneath of it. Again, just because it's an English O doesn't mean that that's what sound it makes in English. So cob, it's going to have that patach or the kamatz underneath of it. And then a bet, cob. All right, cove. So this one's different, right? That O doesn't make the ah sound, it makes the O sound. Cove. And that E in English is silent.
So we want that O up there at the top to the side.
Uh-huh. Yep. So this one can get tricky if yeah, actually let me pop up a little screen because this is one we want to talk about and make sure we get that one down really quick. I didn't think about this one until it popped up on the screen. I'm like, oh yeah, you could write that a few different ways. Okay, so we've got the English word of cove. So we are going to take our new sound, k, k, and we're going to pop an O above it, and then do a vet, cove, cove. Now, why wouldn't we want to do a vav instead of a vet? Because anytime that we have that vav with the holam right before it, it's going to migrate over and be an actual vowel companion. So this right here, it wouldn't be pronounced cove, it would just be pronounced co, co. So in this one, it would be important to put the holam by itself and a vet, cove, like that. Does that make sense? Hopefully. Another way that we could write it, although it, I mean, transliteration's not for accuracy, right? But you could do it like this, cove. So this first vav is the companion, cove, cove. Or you could do it like this, cove. There's quite a few different ways to mix this one up, but the one that just would not work would be that. You would not want to do cove. Even if you did this version, that would be incorrect because that holam right above it is going to just migrate naturally over top of the vav. So that one's a trickier one. I didn't realize I had such a trick question in there. Actually, let's just stay on that screen so that each one of these I can just help write them out. So our next one is go. How would we write the word go?
Gimel and O.
Alternatively, we could go with go. Right. The next word is Kobe, as in Kobe Bryant.
O. And bet. And would you just put that E underneath the B?
Yeah. Could write it like that. I'm just kind of writing out lots of different ways that you could do this because we've got lots of vowel companions that could be alternates in here, different things. And so just kind of giving some different variations. Yeah, there's like 4 or 5 different ways that you could write that. But hopefully that's starting to kind of make sense. The next one, let's do that. I keep having to switch between my keyboards here. There we go, gecko. So another thing is, I mean, if you are practicing with a pencil and paper, I'm giving you a little bit more times to actually write those out because sometimes it takes us like, okay, how do you do the gimel again? So I'm trying to go purposely a little bit slow, but if I need to speed up or whatever, let me know. But so got gimel, so we've got a sound, ge,
And then the cough.
Oh. So this would be the shortest way to write it. We could also do a ge companion, and then ko, gecko. I mean, there's again 3 or 4 different ways to come up with each of these. All right, let's try the word koi, as in koi fish. This one's really tricky, but see if you can figure out what you would do.
I've forgotten. Have we had oi before? The oi sound?
But what is it? It's 2 vowels, 2 consecutive vowels. So how would we do that? So just our first vowel, we've got ko, right? Ko. Koi. So we need to morph the O into an E. So how can we have another vowel right on top of it? We would need a silent consonant in order to carry that sound.
Oh.
Koi. Koi.
Hmm.
So anytime that you need to start a word with a vowel sound, or you need to have like 2 consecutive vowels, that those silent letters are going to come into play. So aleph and ayin, which we'll learn about, I think it's in 2 weeks. But for now, just use an aleph. So that's how you would do koi, with kind of a double vowel. All right, this one looks like it's going to be intimidating, but it's not too bad. Do yacht. So we've got, it's a scary word in English, but the sounds of it are actually fairly simple.
There again, we haven't had the Tove yet, have we?
Just a second. Yeah, we haven't had Tav, but we have had Tet.
Oh, Ted. Sure. Okay. So the yod and then patosh or kamash and the tet.
Patach or Kamatz.
What did I say?
Patash or Kamash.
Oh, yeah, don't listen to me.
Patach or Kamatz.
Yeah.
All right. So let's do yoke. What's that? I don't know why my keyboard's being weird all of a sudden. Okay. Alternatively, so a yod, and we either need a cholam or a cholam maleh. And then the kaf, yoke.
Well, for myself, I like to keep it simple and do the shortest.
Mm-hmm. And you're more than welcome to. I mean, there's nothing saying one way is better than the other. It all comes down to our scary vowel chart when we get to that point. Then we'll have more grammar rules to help us to differentiate which one would be which.
The tet and the E dot underneath and the cough.
So there's a couple different ways to do that. If it's just simplified or if it has that vowel companion. All right, coat.
Okay. So the cough with the O on top to the side and then et.
Yep. Or we could do that holam malay in between, would work as well. All right, and deck.
The dalit E underneath and the dot and the cough.
Which kind of E?
The dot.
So deck,
Oh,
that would be D.
oh, you got me. You got me. Okay, so those three little dots.
Yep. So we need a segol or
And
a segol yod. A segol
yeah.
deck.
So, oh, so you need that. You couldn't just do it the other way.
Either way. Yeah, I'm just saying you can have the segol by itself, or you could have it with its companion.
Uh-huh. Okay.
Right. Just a couple more. Vogue. Where's my thing?
So.
Just a second. Why can't I not type that one?
Whoa.
For some reason, as I replace text or whatever, it just forces my caps lock on. Okay, well, we're gonna go with a vet then. Nope, I can't do that either. There we go. Okay. Oh. Vogue. Let's see if I can. Yeah, now it's letting me.
You just needed to clear it, I guess.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so here's a few different alternates. This one's kind of a crazy one, right? So we could do a vet and then a cholam malay and a gimel. We could do a kind of a double vav, the second one being a vowel companion with a gimel. You could just do the holam by itself. There's a few different ways you could do that one. That was kind of tricky.
This is just a crazy question.
Yep.
Would vote be in the Hebrew language? It doesn't seem like a word they would have.
Like the meaning behind it
Mm-hmm.
to be in vogue, yeah, I doubt it. Like I don't know if it was very much in English until, I don't know.
Madonna.
Well, no, because Madonna came up with it from somewhere, but like, I don't know that like early English even had that word. I think it's more of a modern kind of thing anyway.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
But who knows? But to be in style or something like that, Hebrew might have a somewhat similar sentiment. I don't know.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
Haze. Let's try haze.
Okay. And then I am. So
There's a couple
yeah.
ways you could write it. All right, so hopefully that's coming more second nature to you, but anyway, it's kind of tricky as we're jumping back from vacation week and things, but anyway, I would practice with those. I'll get these slides up there tonight. I have just been so busy that I have not been able to get like worksheets or anything put together. So it's basically just kind of going off slides at this point and kind of reviewing the videos and our sessions and things. But yeah, I would focus on the alphabet song. That's going to be kind of crucial to get the names of the consonants down, and then working on the vocab from lesson 2 and lesson 3, because I know that those are pretty tricky to get those down. And then just sight reading, kind of pulling up flashcards, different consonants and vowels, and trying to sound things out. And then I don't know, I think it's really fun, the geeky side, to try to come up with English words that use the Hebrew vowels that we know so far. I've come up with what, like 16 here or so, but there's plenty more of English words that can be written with the Hebrew letters that you know. Just try to kind of ponder on it, think about it, and come up with different ones. If you want to send those to me, and I can include them in the lessons and stuff. But anyway, any questions or comments or anything about kind of where we've been? Let me do like a quick recap with it, just really quick, kind of show us where we've got to. So we have Chaf, Kaf, and Chaf Sofit. So it's basically just one letter, but different versions of it, different ways to kind of pronounce that. We have Cholam and Cholam Malay, which is basically the O sound. Many times we kind of think of it as it's kind of the light bulb. The light bulb goes off over your head, and you go, "Oh, that's how you remember it. That this is the vowel that goes up top. Oh, it's that light bulb." I often refer to it as the light bulb. And then we talked about final forms. So these 5 letters, Chaf, Mem, Nun, Fe, and Sadi, are all have the potential to drop their tail when they're at the end of any word. And this is a forced thing. It's not optional. Like it might have just sounded like I said that. I need to word that better. Anytime these 5 are at the end of a word, they will always drop their tail. It's a forced final form for them. But these are the only 5 that do that. There is one other consonant who always resides below the baseline, but anyway, these ones are the final forms that we're going to be taking a look at. So the alphabet song, the vocab from lesson 2, lesson 3, and just kind of reviewing these words here. And if you want to, for extra practice, crack open any Hebrew text that you can find in the resources tab of Learning Zion. We've got lots on there where you can go and read different passages and just look for letters that you know and try to sound out things. Like for example, on the 4th line, the second to last word, it has quite a few consecutive vowels and consonants there that you might be able to sound out. But anyway, just kind of getting practice, kind of immersing yourself, even though you might not know everything, but just taking a look at, okay, what do I know, and kind of work off of that. But anyway, yeah, there's not any further questions or whatever. We'll close out for the night. But let's see, next week, just kind of talking calendar real quick. So next week we will have our normal Monday and Thursday, but the next week is going to be a skip week for Education Week. Anybody is welcome to come and join us there. There's quite a few of us meeting up and everything at Education Week. The dinner that we're having is on Saturday the 19th. So before Education Week even begins, that Saturday evening, we're getting together like our book clubs and different things. Anybody that's interested in doing it, they're in American Fork. If you're interested in it, I'm not going to be sending out like a text or message or anything like that. But if any, well, actually, I take that back. I probably should, just so that we don't miss anybody that really wants to come. So I'll have the information in that email. So Saturday the 19th, and then Education Week. So the 21st, that Monday, we will not have our Hebrew class, and the 24th, we will not have our Thursday evening class that week. But then we should be back rocking and rolling after that. So we should finish up by the end of mid to end of September with the Hebrew alphabet. All right, well, there's nothing else. We'll bid adieu for another week. Shalom, everyone. Have a great week.